I like the way that you talk about the difference between or the differences between objectives and a goal. And that's one thing I want to explain. The second thing I want to explain is primary goal and secondary goal.
Mm.
All right. And let's talk about the first one is the differences between objectives and goal. Objective is like, for example, you want to uh, let's assume position your company as a thought leader in the manufacturing field. Okay, that's the objective you want to accomplish.
Okay, good.
The goal is something that ultimately what you're going to set up to measure your success. Like if I want to position myself as a thought leader, that's my objective. Maybe my goal is publish my name being mentioned by Wall Street Journal. Okay, so that's the
Okay.
goal, right? But let's take that goal and then you break it down, right? Or I publish an article on Harvard Business Review. I don't know. I'm just saying out loud. That's your
Okay.
goal,
Okay.
right? But to get there, there's many steps that you need to take to get there,
Sure.
right? So, and then you mentioned there's a weekly goal, there's a monthly goal, there's a daily goal. Okay, before I get down to be like name to be mentioned on the Wall Street Journal, maybe I have to make sure I am on the local business journal first, and then maybe I should be on the local business TV first,
Hmm.
and maybe I needs to be published the white paper, and the white paper being backlink to multiple media outlet first. And then after that, maybe I will talk to the MSNBC's affiliates, that cover a multiple different states, and then eventually you reach, a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you measure the goal, and the weekly goal or the monthly goals are something just to track in terms of, are you making progress? Does that make sense? So
That's
you
really
always have to understand that when you have a monthly goal, it's that goal that ultimately will reach the primary goal. Then all the weekly, monthly goal, you should see it as a secondary goal. Okay, not
that's
necessarily
great.
the
That's
primary.
great. That's
That's
super
one
well
thing.
structured.
So then all of a sudden you know which one is important. Like for example, my client just basically we launch a website for a client, and the client say, oh my god, I need to add additional goals about web traffic. I was like, do you really need to do that? Do you need to add that as your primary goal? Your primary goal is a podcast download. Okay, then when you drive traffic to the website, ultimately you can drive 10,000 people to a website, but they only have one podcast download, then we fail miserably. But if you drive literally 100 people to the website and that has 50 downloads, then that's a success.
Mhm.
So then we can measure the website traffic, definitely, but that should not be additional goal you added in addition to your podcast download. Does that
Sure.
make sense? Once
That's
I explained it, my client basically say, "You're right. We only have one goal. That's a podcast download. Everything we do is drive toward that. I can still measure the web traffic on monthly basis, on weekly basis, on quarterly basis. But the bottom line is, I measure that as my secondary goal. I know that, but I'm not confusing that with my primary goal. And is the secondary goal supporting the primary goal? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, what can you do to improve it? Then all of a sudden you kind of know the differences and what you need to push and change. Is that helpful?
super helpful.
Thank
Great.
you.
Like teacher. Primary, secondary, no third, fourth, five, no.
No. In general, I have this thought. I know a lot of social media manager is going to kill me. I always feel social media metrics are vanity metrics. By the way, that doesn't mean when I say that doesn't mean it's not important.
No,
Okay.
I get your point.
Comments, shares, likes, they are important. That's because you create free impressions for your brand. All right. So they are important. But ultimately, all this somehow need to drive some sort of conversion. Right. So if you build a lot of that, there's a lot of likes, a lot of share, but ultimately there's no conversion, or you cannot track you have to track the conversion. If you cannot track it, don't bother. But if you need to somehow track like some of those impression, like some people actually go down to kind of like a further down to your purchase funnel. Like somebody is actually due to your post and then comment on something and say, you know what, this is very interesting. Can I talk to your salesperson? Well, that's a conversion all by itself. Oh, this is very interesting. I have the similar problem, right? And that you can basically say, oh yeah, talk to my customer support, or hey, you know what, can I actually have one of my salespeople call you and talk about this, right? So the thing is, having the likes, having the share is all good, but if you look at the comments, can that comments convert to something that our salespeople can engage?